ministry.
We welcome you once again to Israelites Relit, Believers of the Way Online Assembly. My name is Pathwal Ben Yaakov. Raha simply means pastor. That's what it means. My Hebrew name is Pathwal Ben Yaakov. All right, brothers and sisters, we're going to conclude with the teaching that we've been doing on polygyny. And we left off in Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1. And today we're going to be dealing with this aspect of polygyny. 7 women shall take hold of one man, get in proper context, wanted daughters of Zion, the wantonness of the daughters of Zion. The daughters of Zion have become wanted. They're walking in the spirit of wantonness. And this is why this prophecy was given unto the daughters of Zion. It is not a prophecy. Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1 is not a prophecy of wholesomeness. It's not a prophecy that denotes any type of righteous union. It is a curse. It is a byproduct of the actions of the daughters of Zion because they have become wanted against the Most High Yah. And that's what we're going to deal with today. We dealt with, the last time I brought for the teaching, we dealt with the brothers. We went in on the brothers now. All right? And we brought the aspect that the very fact that Isaiah chapter 4 verse 1 states that 7 women shall take hold to one man, and they shall say that we will provide our own bread, our own meat, our own clothing. Just let us be called by your name. In that of itself, the context of that verse within itself does not denote or does not give an example of a wholesome marriage or a biblical marriage according to Scripture. Because according to Scripture, the man is supposed to provide the necessities of life for his wife and for his family. It is not the wife's job to make sure that she has raiment, food, and clothing. So in this case, when we look at the context of this, we see that this is a dysfunctional situation. This is not a well-functioning situation. This is not something that is biblically based or a biblical marriage. You know, why is it? I was on YouTube this week. As you know, I'm driving. I'm always on YouTube, Facebook. I'm listening to different things and stuff like that. And whenever it comes to polygyny, they always classify it. Polygynous brothers and sisters always classify it as biblical marriage. Polygyny is not a biblical functioning marriage. It is not the prescribed or what is prescriptive as it relates to marriage. There's not one verse where the Most High says, for this cause or for this purpose, for this reason shall a man leave his father and mother and go marry multiple wives or have multiple women. It doesn't say that. It says that he shall cling unto his wife and the two shall be made one flesh. That is what is prescribed. So when we talk about biblical marriage, the prescription of biblical marriage is monogamy. Monogamy is the true representation of biblical marriage. Polygyny is not a biblical marriage, okay? It is a circumstantial marriage due to certain circumstances and indiscretions of a man. Because once a man lays with a woman and he humbles her, he must endow that woman to be his wife. Okay? That's what Scripture teaches. We're not going to get into all that today. We'll probably get into that in a later time, just bringing context to that. But biblical marriage is monogamy. That is the standard for marriage. That is what Yah requires. Yah does not require a man to marry multiple wives in order to be married. You must have one wife. That is the context, and that is what solidifies a marriage. You have to have at least one wife. Okay, that's it. That's why even Gabriel, he quoted in a discussion that we were having a few weeks ago, he quoted, was it 2 Timothy, Gabriel, 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1, where it talks about the requirements of an elder or a bishop, which is a pastoral ministry, the office of a pastor, a shepherd, okay, is that he must be the husband of one wife. He can't be in a polygynous relationship. He must be the husband of one wife. That's it. Because that is the standard for marriage. Anything other than that supersedes the standard of the prescriptive that Yah has given us as it relates to marriage. All right, with that being said, let's go ahead to the scriptures, my brothers and sisters. Let's start here. Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1. When you get there, put a 1 in the chat. Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1. Once again, Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1. When you get there, throw a 1 in the chat for me. Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1. YHWH chapter 4, verse 1. All right. I also want to say to everybody, too, is that when we go through these studies, even now, when I'm listening to the brothers, whether it's Elder Demetrius, Elder G, Minister Trey, when they minister, I always get my trusty notebook pad and my notebook paper and my pencil, my pen, and I write the verses down and I write down notes underneath that. Make sure you all do that. That's very important because this is a study, okay? Faith come by hearing, hearing by the word of Yah, but also take notes as well, too. Because when I was coming up underneath my elder, teacher, pastor, when he would teach, I would always have a notebook pad. I'd be writing down notes, taking notes and things of that nature. And those things, I still have those things to this day. And oftentimes I go back and revisit certain things in those notes that I already have written for many years ago. Okay? All right, with that being said, let's read this one verse here, and then we're going to go into the context of what this verse is actually referring to. It says, and in that day, I want y'all to understand that phrase, in that day. What day is he talking about? What time is he talking about? What dispensation is he talking about? Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1 is the continuation. It is the continuation of Isaiah chapter 3. So to understand what day that he's specifically talking about, that 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread, wear our own apparel, only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. Then we got to understand what is the reproach that he's referring to. Because Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1 is a continuation, or it is a part of the context of Isaiah chapter 3. Once again, let me go back over again. A woman is not in a marriage. In a biblical marriage, a woman is not supposed to provide her own bread, her own apparel. She's not supposed to do that. That is what the man is supposed to provide, all those things. We read in Exodus chapter, 10? Was it 10 verse 14 or verse 11? I forgot. It was Exodus chapter 28, I believe, verse 10. Where it talks about, it says, and this is what a lot of polygamists like to quote this, if he takes another wife, the word wife is italicized there, her food, her raiment, her duty of marriage, he shall not diminish. All right. So according to that verse, if he takes another, the word wife is italicized. That particular context is not talking about him taking another wife. But let's just use that hypothetically. Let's use that hypothetically that he's talking about him taking another wife in that regard. If that's the case, then he has a duty of marriage, her food and her raiment, he cannot diminish because it's the man's responsibility to take care of his household. Even if he has maid service or men service in the Old Testament, it was the head of the household responsibility to make sure that every person that was a part of his house was fed and taken care of properly. Okay? All right, so in that regard, this here in Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1 is not a good example of a polygynous relationship. Okay? It's the worst example that any polygynist can use. And if you're a polygynist, you don't need to use this verse to try to justify why you are practicing polygyny, so on and so forth. Because this verse right here actually is showing a dysfunctionality as it relates to polygyny, as it relates to multiple women taking hold of one man. It is a dysfunctional situation. All right. With that being said, let's go to Isaiah chapter 3, verse 16. Isaiah chapter 3, verse 16. Now, the whole chapter, Isaiah chapter 3, is applicable to Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1. But I decided, okay, let's just start at verse 16 because this is where the meat and the potatoes and the bones of the situation lies here in Isaiah chapter 3, verse 16. When you get there, put a 1 in the chat. Isaiah chapter 3, verse 16. Isaiah chapter 3, verse 16. All right. Let's go ahead and get into it. The scripture reads, Yah says, moreover, Yah saith, because the daughters of Zion are haughty. Let's look up the word haughty. We're going to be looking up a lot of words today, y'all. Let's look up this word haughty here so we can get a good understanding of what the Most High is saying here. The Hebrew word is gabal, gabal. Because you are haughty, you are gabal in the Hebrew. That is to soar, to be lofty, to be haughty, exalt, to make high, lift it up, mount up, be proud, raise up against heights, or upward. Because the daughters of Zion have become haughty, saith Yah. He said, for this reason, because you have become haughty, look what he goes on to say. He says, because you have become haughty, and walk with a stretch forth necks. He said, you walk with your neck stretched forth. Let's look up this word here. We're going to be looking up a lot of words because I just don't want y'all to assume. I want y'all to see the characteristics that are associated with these Hebrew words. I want you to see, when we look up the Hebrew gives us the characteristics. It gives us a descriptive character of what these words are talking about so we can understand the posture, the physical posture of the type of woman that the Most High is talking about here and how the daughters of Zion have become. Look what he says. He says, they walk with stretched forth neck. What does this word mean to stretch forth? It is nata, nata. To stretch or spread out. Implication, to bend away, including, look at this in parentheses. Can y'all see this? I want to make sure y'all see this. Can everybody see this definition? Put a one in the chat if you can see this Hebrew definition. Nata, to stretch forth. They stretch forth the neck. Okay? They stretch forth the neck. Nata, to stretch forth, to spread out. By implication, to bend away, including more deflection. More deflection. So this is talking about the morality that the daughters of Zion, they stretch forth their neck. It's almost like I would see my mother. Sometimes my mother would have to get on my sisters when we were younger. And they would stretch forth their neck, kind of roll their neck in the way, or kind of roll their eyes and snap their neck away from my mother when she was talking to them. And my mother would say, don't you have no attitude with me? Don't you be stretching forth your neck like that, rolling your eyes at me, girl. How many of you mothers and daughters of Zion have experienced that type of attitude when your mother or your parents are saying something to you that you don't like what they're saying? They might be correcting you about a behavior or something like that. Even some of us brothers have that same type of spirit. We become haughty. We stretch forth our neck. It is including more deflection. It is including more deflection. Used in a great variety of applications. Okay? And here's some of the synonyms. Carry away, decline, extend, go down, be gone, pervert. Look at that synonym there. Pervert. Put away. Spread out. Take aside, turn away, to rest. They begin to rest, they begin to twist. They stretch forth their necks. They nata, more deflection. They want to deflect from the morality of being a pure daughter of Zion. Okay? Now, let's get back to the scriptures, y'all. Y'all know how we do. We break words down here. We just don't assume. We look into the Hebrew, the Hebraic definition of the word, so we can get a good understanding and see the characteristics of the word of the Most High. He says, they stretch forth their neck and wanting. They are wanting. Sakor in the Hebrew. It is the primitive root to agol. I believe that's how you pronounce it. We're going to look up that word. we're going to get the right pronunciation for it. But it means that it's blink. Blink. That's almost like rolling your eyes. You know how your sister do when y'all get attitude, y'all start blinking your eyes real rapidly and you kind of roll your eyes and you do your neck a certain type of way when you're talking. You know, when you got an attitude, you're doing your neck some type of way when you're talking. Y'all know what I'm talking about. The daughters of Zion, they have become Sakor. Now, let's look up this word O-G-L-E right quick. I want to define this word right quick, y'all. And we're going to get the right pronunciation of the word. Let me see here. Here it go right here, y'all. On the screen. Let's get the right pronunciation. Ogol. Okay? So the word that we're looking at is ogol. Can everybody see that? Put a one in the chat. Let me make sure y'all can see this. Auntie Tiffany, you said, I was scared of my parents. I know that's right. I know my mama, even if us boys did, she would slap the mess out of us. Don't you roll your eyes. Don't you stretch for your neck at me like that. You know, that's a sign of disrespect. Ogol. All right? That's what that word means, to be wanton. Ogol. And the word ogol means stare at in a lascious matter. To stare at somebody in a lascious matter. Okay? So that's what it means. It's that look. You know, your kids, you say something to your kids and they don't like what you're saying. They got an attitude and they give you a certain type of look. Don't look at me like that, son. I can hear my daddy saying that now. My dad say something to me. Patrick, I had to keep telling you such and such, son. Come on now. Stop being hard-headed, son. You know, you get an attitude. You start looking some type of way. You give them that ogul look. That's what the Most High is talking about. Let's get back to the scriptures. He said, because they have become wanton. The daughters of Zion have become wanting. He said, wanting eyes. See that? The eyes have become wanted. The eyezine, the ayin, the eye. A fountain. That's what that word ayin means. It's an eye, literally or figuratively by allegory, a fountain. You know, we hear that a lot of times that the eye is the window to the nephesh or to the soul. You can look into someone's eyes. You can tell if they're sincere, if they're lying, you know. That's why I told my son the other day, we went into the store. He was paying for something, and the lady was addressing him, and he had his head down. I said, son, hold your head up and look that person in the eye. Always look a person in their eye, son. Never showed any intimidation in that way. You be respectful, but you always look someone in their eye, because you could tell a lot about a person when you look them directly in the eye. You give them your undivided. You let them know that you're paying attention to them. You look them in the eye. Very important. The ayin. He said their eyes have become wanton eyes. Okay? Walking and mincing, tafa, to mince, to trip with short steps, to mince. Y'all sisters know what that is. You trying to seduce a man, you go and you start mincing. You're mincing in a certain type of way. Hey, y'all, this message is going to be towards the daughters of Zion today. We dealt with the brethren last time. We went in on the brother. This message for the daughters of Zion today now. This is what Yah says, because you go about mixing while you walk. Okay? You're deliberately trying to situate certain part of your body so that you can draw the attention of men and women to you. Okay? To you. You go about mincing. Daughters of Zion. Now, it's all right if you got a husband and you walking around your house and you mincing, that's fine. Okay? That's fine. Matter of fact, as husbands, we like when our wives walk around the house and they're mixing a certain type of way, okay? Nothing wrong with that. Hey, that's why I got a 6th child on the way. But when you are out and about and you're mincing, you're situating, you're stretching forth your neck, and you're walking in a way to draw attention to you, you're dressing in a way drawing attention to you, my sisters, this is what Yah's talking about. This is what Yah's talking about. He said they walk mixing as they go and making tingling with their feet. You're tingling with your feet. In the Hebrew word, that word is akis. Akis in the Hebrew. It is to tie with fetters. To put on anklets. Anklets. To make a tingling ornament. Back in the day, when a woman would want to bring attention to herself, when she would want to be sensual in a way, they would put on these tinglets on their ankles, these ankle braces, and they would tingle and tingle, and they would shake them in a way whereby when they would walk by mixing, that the men or crowd of people will focus all their attention on them. Okay? As men and women, we ought to be modest. Modest in our attitude, modest in our apparel, the things that we wear, how we dress. We ought to be mindful of those things, that we're not bringing wrongful attention to ourselves, that we're not situating and sensualizing ourselves, whereby a sister might be drawn to something, okay, that we're wearing. Whether it's men or women. As a grown man, there's certain things that I put on, and my wife will look at me and say, Patrick, don't wear that. I don't like the way that fits you. It's not fitting your hips, and you're growing right. I don't like that. She'll let me know. I don't fight her and say, well, it's all right. I don't see nothing wrong. I go and take it off. If my wife puts on something, she'll come to me and say, baby, what you think about this? And I look at it, inspect it. Okay, that's good, baby. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That's the way it should be. But when you deliberately dress it in a way, whether you're a man or a woman, to bring attention to yourself in a way whereby you want men or women to look at you, that is a spirit of wantonness, haughtiness, and pride. Now, I'm not saying you got to go around looking ugly. No, look beautiful. Scripture says that he will beautify the meek with salvation. You can dress in a way that's modest, that's beautiful, but when you are intentionally putting on things and dressing in a way to bring attention to yourself, okay, from other women or other men, that is not your spouse, then that's a spirit of haughtiness and wantonness. And Yah said, because the daughters of Zion have become this way, they become proud. They are dressing in a way that is sensual. They want attention. They want all the attention on them. And they walk by mincing. They go by mincing. Ema Labia says, attention to your body parts. Exactly. Hoochie-fi, Elder Demetrius said. Hoochie-fi. Yes, Sister Occulty Tiffany. Yes, hey, you hit her around the head. Making music while you walk. Exactly. Benjamin said, we used to call that switching back in my day. Exactly. Benjamin. Switching. You know, nothing wrong with switching now. You switching for your husband. You know, ain't nothing wrong with that. But if you out here switching, out here when you going to the grocery store, when you going to certain cities, I've been to certain, listen, let me tell y'all a story, y'all. Oh my goodness, I gotta tell y'all a story. I'm gonna try to keep it PG, but I'm gonna tell you the truth. I went to a meeting one time. brother was very excited to see me. You know, I go to certain meetings, people, they hear about me from other people, or they may have seen some type of teaching on YouTube, and I would go to these meetings. Back in the day, I would go to a lot of meetings, and people come to me, hey, Pathwal, man, it's good. I listen to your messages. I want you to meet such and such. There was a brother that wanted me to meet his sister. He had brought his sister along. The sister was dressed inappropriate. No, she had on these leotard pants, right? And, you know, he tell me, I want you to meet my sister. So I got my back turned, and then I turn around. He brings his sister to me, and she got on these leotards, my brother, and they was grabbing everything that I literally had to turn my head like this. Literally. My neck was like an owl. You know how an owl neck, his body can be straight, his neck can turn all the way around like this. I literally had to do that. Literally, my brothers and sisters. Because when she walked up, when I saw her, I literally could see everything, bro. I'm not going to lie to you. I literally could see everything, every print, every nook, every and it you know, back in the day, even when we went to church, you know, I remember being a young boy, right? And we had assembly in the intercity Charlotte, and sometimes drunkards would walk in there, sometimes prostitutes would just stumble in there. And a lot of times when drunkards and prostitutes would come into our assembly at that time, and the word would be coming forth, they would fall down on their knees and give their life to the Most High. But even in that regard, they wouldn't come in there inappropriately, you know. They would come in there and ask somebody, or do you have a sheet or something I could put over me? You know, they had some type of respect. I remember one time I was doing a meeting in the hotel room. I was preaching. And there was a young lady. She came to the door. She had a dress on, but the dress was kind of short, like above her knees and stuff like that. And she looked in the door. She heard me in there preaching. She looks in there. My mother-in-law see her looking through the window, through the door, through the glass on the door of the meeting room. So my mother-in-law gets up and she goes and said, "Baby, you want to come in?" She said, "I want to come in, but I'm dressed inappropriate. I'm looking at all the women. Y'all got long skirts on and you covered up, and I got this short skirt on and everything." And my mama said, "Baby, don't worry about it. You just come on in here and listen to the word. We can give you something to cover up." But she had enough respect and dignity that she stood on the outside of the door and listened to the teacher. She wouldn't come in there because she was dressed inappropriately. But these days, these young ladies today, they don't have no respect, no regard. They'll come into the sanctuary with these short dresses on, crossing their legs. You can see their thighs, you can see their panties, you can see all of that. Everything that their mama gave them, you can see it. Okay? And that's not limited to long dresses either, too, sisters. Because sometimes you can wear a long dress and it can be fitting. You real tight back there. Okay, brothers. Sometimes you can get them. You got a nice physique. You want to show off your muscles, and you come up here wearing short sleeve shirts all the way up to your shoulder because you want to show off your big biceps. You got your shirt so tight it look like skin on you, so everybody can see your abs and stuff. Come on now, who are you trying to impress? You're trying to draw attention to yourself. That's a spirit of pride. Okay? And this is what the Most High is talking about. Because the daughters of Zion have become wanton and haughty. And they become sensual. They're burning in their own desire. Look what Yah says. Yah says in verse 17, "Therefore, Adon will smite with a scab the crown of thy head of the daughters of Zion, and Yahuwah will discover their secret parts." He said, because of that, your hair's going to fall out. Our sister put all these chemicals of perms in their hair. They put all these wigs and weave in their head, messing up their scalp. They're doing all of this stuff instead of taking care of the natural hair that the Most High has given them, which is beautiful. They want to dye it blonde, blue, purple, red, green. And Yah says, because he said, I'm going to smite the crown of your head of the daughters of Zion. And Yahweh will discover thy secret parts. He said, because of your spirit, he said, I'm going to discover your secret parts. I'm going to uncover you. You're not going to have any shame. You're going to walk around with skimpy attire on, showing off your knees, your thighs. These women today, they wear stuff so short, you can literally see the cheeks. Come on now. This is the degradation of the daughters of Zion. This is a type of spirit that is permeate among our young women. The spirit of prostitution. There's no sanctity. There's no covering. And guess what? The older women that's supposed to be teaching them how to dress, how to be modest. Guess what? The older women, they're trying to dress the same way. They're trying to bring attention to themselves. This is the type of woman that Isaiah chapter 4 verse 1 is talking about. These type of women. And these type of women are going to have a reproach. Why? Because they have become haughty. They have wanting eyes. A man is not attracted to that. A man is not attracted to a woman. A man is not going to marry a woman. He's not going to settle down and build a family with a woman that has a spirit like that. No, he will lay with you. He will use you. And then after he was done with you, he's not going to want anything to do with you. He's not going to marry you. He's not going to wife you. He's not going to do none of that to you. Because if you would do, if a woman would dress in a way like that in public, then how can a man's heart safely trust in a woman like that? Men are not drawn to things like that unless they operated in lust. But even men that operate in lust are not going to wife and marry a woman like that. They're going to use them, what they call them, thoughts today. And that's the only thing they're going to see you as. They're not going to see any value. They're not going to respect you. They're not going to honor you. Look at this. Verse 18, verse 18. He said, in that day, Adon will take away the bravery of their tingling ornaments about their feet, and the cows or the coals of their round tires like moons. Now look at these words here. This word here, this word C-A-U-L-S here, I don't know if y'all can see this on the screen. Shabishi in the Hebrew. It means to intertwine, a netting for the hair. A netting for the hair. Yah says, I'm going to take away thy tingling ornaments and their feet and their shabishi and their round tires like the moon. The round tires here. Shahoran. The Hebrew word here, the round tires, a round pendant for the neck, ornament, round tire like the moon. So all of these things are ornaments that women would wear back in those days. Yah says, I'm going to take those things away. I'm going to take away your bravery. The Hebrew word here is tafilirith. Now, let's bring this word up here because this is very important. Yah says, I'm going to take away thy tafilirah, or tafilirith. Let's look up this word here, y'all. The bravery in verse 18 of the same chapter. He says, I'm going to take away your bravery, thy tafilirah, or tafilirith. Throw one in the chat if you can see it. If you can see this definition, this is a very important adjective or attribute that Yah said he's going to take away from the daughters of Zion. Why? Because they have become whorish. Because they have become sensual. Okay? Because they have prostituted themselves. They're walking in the spirit of wantonness. Tafirah or tafirith. He said, yes, I'm going to take away thy bravery. That word bravery in the Hebrew is tafirah or tafirith. Ornament. Abstractly or concretely. Literal or figuratively. Beauty, beautiful, bravery, comely, fair, yes, honor, majestic. Y'all said, I'm going to take away your beauty. Nothing more beautiful than seeing a woman that is adorned with modesty. A woman that is adorned with a meek and quiet spirit. Paul said, don't let your beauty be the essence of your braided hair or your ornaments, but let your beauty be the essence of a meek and a quiet spirit. There's nothing more attractive to a man than a woman that is not only beautiful, that adorns herself majestically, that dresses in the way of honor, dresses in the way of respect, but she has a beautiful, meek, and quiet spirit. And that don't mean that she doesn't talk or conversate. That doesn't mean that she just walk around not saying nothing, but your spirit is not loud. Your spirit is not bodacious. Your spirit is not wantonness. You're not trying to draw the attention of every man. You're not going around mincing when you walk, but you are saving yourself for an honorable man that you can build with, and that you can be the wife and mother of his children. See, when you dress in a way of honor, when you are a woman of honor, then you will meet a man of honor. The Most High will give you a mate that's of honor. But when you're lewd, when you're sensual in that way, even, I'm not just talking about single women, I'm talking about married women too. There's women that are married that still want the attention of other men. They won't dress for their man in a sensual way, because there's nothing wrong with a woman dressing for her man or for her husband in a way of in a sensual way. You're supposed to do that for your husband. But when you're going out here in the midst of other men dressing sensual, walking a certain way, your hips are rocking back and forth a little too much, okay? In the midst of other men, then you are the same woman that Yah's talking about here. Yah says that I'm going to take away thy tafira, thy beauty. He said, I'm going to take away your beauty. You're not going to be beautiful. You're not going to have a meek and quiet spirit. You're going to be loud, boisterous, mean, ugly. You can paint your face. You can wear Gucci, Balenciaga. But you're not beautiful. There's nothing that's beautiful about you. Why? Because you're only focused on the exterior, not the interior. Beauty is something that comes from the inside of a woman. And that beauty that's in the interior will affect the exterior. She won't have to go out here and put on tons of makeup on her face. There's some women that put so much makeup on their face they look like clowns. I want to say this, brothers and sisters. There's two references of women painting their face in Scripture. One is in Ezekiel, and the other is in the book of Kings, where it talks about Jezebel when she saw Yahoo riding from a distance. The Scripture says that she painted her face. My brothers and sisters, I don't believe that women of Yahshua wear makeup. I don't believe that, because when we see the context of makeup, of women painting their face, when you look at the context, it's always related to negativity. It's always related to being sensual, okay? It's always related to being whorish. if I may use that terminology, okay? I'm not going to pull the scriptures up right now, but y'all go and look at it. It's a verse in Ezekiel that talks about how the women paint their face. And then Jezebel. Those are only two examples that I see in scripture of women painting their face, and they're all used in a negative context. There's nothing more beautiful than a woman that, most men, like some of these shows like Love is Blind, Love is Blind, because sometimes my wife like to watch shows like that, Love is Blind, Love at First Sight, Sometimes my wife would like to watch little shows like that. She don't watch them that often, but when they first came on, she was kind of interested. We were looking at them and said, okay, let's see what they're talking about. Let's see what they got going on here. But a lot of the men, when they would finally choose a woman to date, one of the first things that they would want to see is the woman without makeup. And most of the men would tell their significant other or the women that they met on those shows, why you put so much makeup on your face? You got to put all that makeup on your face. I like you without all that makeup. What you trying to hide? Mess up your skin, make your skin all pale looking. Look at these people, got pictures of people like Rihanna, Beyonce, J-Lo, Halle Berry, these women that the world promote and say that they're beautiful. And a lot of times when they take these pictures of them without the makeup, they look like pure death. Let your skin breathe. Let the sun give you the tone of melanin. Let the sun kiss your face. That's all you need. Nothing more beautiful than the natural skin tone of a melanated woman, whether she's brown-skinned, light-skinned, dark-skinned. Nothing more beautiful than that. You don't have to go out here and paint your face up like a clown. Get you some shea butter, some natural oils, and moisturize your skin that way. Yah says, I'm going to take away your tefillah and your tefillah. I'm going to take away your beauty. Let's get back to the scriptures. He said, I'm going to take away your beauty. Look what he says here in verse 19. He said the chains, the bracelets, and the mufflers. He said, I'm going to take away, look at this. We got to look up all these words, y'all. Let's look up the word chains here. The Hebrew word for chains is net-ifah. Net-ifah. A pendant of the ear, especially of pearls. He said, I'm going to take away thy bracelets. Shalrah in the Hebrew. The sense of pressing a wristband as compact or clasping bracelet. He said, I'm going to take away the mufflers. Look at this Hebrew word here. It's ra'elah. A long veil as fluttering. He said, I'm going to take away your long veil. Veil that covers. Back in the day, women, they would wear veils. They would wear head covers, decorative veils, decorative head covers. Y'all said, I'm going to take away all of that from you. I'm going to take that away from you. Why? Because you no longer want to dress in a way of honor. You don't want to dress in a way of majesty. You don't want to dress in a way that's becoming unto a daughter, a modest, virtuous daughter of Zion. He said, I'm going to take away your veil. Look what he says. He said in verse 20, the bonnet. He said, I'm going to take away the bonnet. The pithra in the Hebrew. An embellishment that is a fancy head dress. Beautiful bonnet. Goodly ornament. Tire. Yah says, I'm going to take away your beautiful embellished head bonnet or head covering. Women today, they want to show off their hair. They spend hundreds of dollars on their hair. The scripture says that the glory of a woman is her long hair. That glory is only for your husband to see. That's why my wife, she covers her hair. I don't tell my wife to cover her hair. My wife just covers her hair. And when she's around me, she doesn't wear a head cover. Let me tell y'all this story right quick. When I first met my wife, when they first came to our assembly back in 2010, right? Saw my wife, long story short, I asked her father if I could talk with her. We started talking. It was during the Feast of Tabernacle, 8-day feast, so I had 8 days to conversate with her, talk with her. And I'll never forget, I had went to the place where they were staying at because they were staying in the trailer that I had fixed up on the community that I came from, right? So I went down there. It was during the evening, and I asked for her dad and her mother, and Sister Schiffer tells this story too. She tells this story sometimes. And I asked her, because I never saw my wife's hair, but everybody was telling me, like my sister was telling me, Qatar was telling me, and some of the other sisters in our assembly was telling me that they were saying Elise has beautiful long hair, beautiful long locks. But my wife kept her head covered, so I never got a chance to see it. But we were talking, and we was already talking about being betrothed and everything. So, we was already promised to each other. So I go to her father and I ask her father, I say, Zebediah, I said, I don't mean to be disrespectful or anything of that nature, but with your permission, is it all right if I can see your daughter's hair? Can I literally asked her father if I could see her hair. Literally. I went and asked her father's permission if I could see her hair. And her father said, yeah, sure, yes, Brother Patrick. They called me Patrick back then, Pat. Yes, sir, Brother Pat. So fine, yeah, you can see her hair. So he calls Elise out the house and tells her, say, yeah, Pat want to see your hair. You remember that, baby? Yeah, so she takes her hair covering off, and those long locks just fall down, boy. It was like, it was like a radiance that was around her, like some bright aura, man. It was like, man, it was the most beautiful thing ever, right? So that was my first time seeing my wife's hair. Well, because the beauty of a woman is her hair. That's for your husband to delight in. That's for your husband to enjoy. No other man should be embellishing in your hair or in your hairstyle. That should be for your husband. Okay? So God says, I'm going to take away the bonnet and the ointment of the legs. He said the headbands and the tablets. He said the tablets. See what this word tablet means? It's just nephesh or vitality. The nephesh, a breathing creature. And the earrings. He said, I'm going to take all these things away from you. He said, I'm going to take the earrings away from you. The headbands. Look what he says. The rings and the nose jewels. Yah says, I'm going to take the rings and the nose jewels from you. The changeable suits of apparel and the mantles. He said, I'm going to take away the changeable suits of apparel. This word here means a mantle, as easy drawn off. Changeable suit of apparel. Change of raiment. So this is a mantle, a long cloak that the women would wear. It's a very embellished, embroidered royal cloak that the women would wear back then. And he said, and the mantles. He said, I'm going to take away the mantles. A cloak, mantle. And the wipelings, a wide cloak for a woman, veil. So the wipelings is a wide cloak attire for women. So this right here even shows that our women wore long cloaks, long garments that covered their body, but they were very embellished garments. Yah says, I'm going to take all of this away from you. Your long cloaks, instead of wearing long, beautiful, embellished cloaks that covers yourself, covers your body. He said, I'm gonna discover your secret parts. You're gonna go out here and start wearing skimpy stuff, tight stuff that clings to your body. Why? Because you become wanting, you become haughty, you become prideful. Yah says, I'm gonna take all these cloaks and mantles from you. And the crispy pins. He said the crispying pins. Look at this word here. The crispying pins here is hatret in the Hebrew. It means to cut out or hollow. That is, by implication, a pocket bag. A pocket bag. So that is a purse. It's a bag. Yah says, I want to take all these things away from you. He said the glasses, verse 23, the glasses and the fine linen, the hoods and the veils. He said, I'm going to take away the hoods from you. The word hood is a headdress that is a piece of cloth wrapped around diadem, hood, or minor. Y'all see that? Can y'all see that? That hood is a headdress that is a piece of cloth wrapped around a diadem, hood, or minor. He said, I'm going to take all that from you. He said, the fine linen, the envelope or wrapper that is a shirt, fine linen, or sheet. He said, I'm going to take the veils away from you. Radi in the Hebrew. The sense of spreading a veil as expanded. Veil. He said, I'm going to take that away from you. The ra'i. Verse 24. Look what he says in verse 24. And it shall come to pass, instead of a sweet smell, there shall be a stink. And instead of a girdle or rent, and instead of a well set of hair, baldness, and instead of a stomacher, a girdling of sackcloth, and burning instead of beauty. Yah says, I'm going to give you a burning. Instead of beauty, there's going to be a burning, an uncontrollable lust. Don't they say that in our community when there is a young lady that's promiscuous? They say, oh, yeah, she's burning. She's burning. Yah says, instead of beauty, I'm going to give you burning. He said, instead of a well-set head of hair, he said, I'm going to give you baldness. He said, instead of your spirit illuminating a sweet-smelling Savior, there's going to be a stench or a stink. How many of you men have met a real attractive woman? She's attractive, she looked good, but there's a stench from her. Her attitude stinks. Her spirit is not tifra or tefillerith. There's no bravery about her. This is the type of woman that Isaiah chapter 4 verse 1 is talking about. These type of women. They're going to be so desperate. They're going to be so wanting. They're going to be so lustful that they would do anything it takes to be with a man. They have no dignity. They have no shame. They have no integrity about themselves. Why? Because they are haughty, they are pride, and their eyes have become wanton. They are silly women laden with sin. This is what this is describing. These 7 women, that's what it's talking about. This type of woman. Not a righteous woman, not a Kodash woman. Because a Kodash woman, they ain't got to go out here seeking for a man. The man will come to her. She is to be found by an honorable man. Okay? Look what he says in verse 25. Thy men shall fall by the sword. He said, because of your haughtiness, because of your indiscretions, because you want to be sensual and sexualize yourself, I'm going to take off all this beautiful attire. You're not even going to desire the mantle. You're not even going to desire the long cloaks of royalty. He said you're going to desire to wear things that are sensual. Low-cutting shirts. Tight pants. Short skirts. God says, I'm going to discover your secret parts because of your lewdness. And he said, also because of your attitude, because of your haughtiness. He says, thy men shall fall by the herib, they shall be destroyed. And the mighty men, and thy mighty men of war. Where the men at today? It's hard to even find a decent man for a woman. And the reason why this is so is because of the lewdness and the wantonness and the haughtiness of the daughters of Zion. The reason why there's no good men out here is because your women have become wantonness. There's no standard. There's no sanctity with the young daughters of Zion today. And therefore, the men are being destroyed. Men don't feel the need to commit to a woman. Why? Because a lot of the young women today are easy. They're easy. He said, and her gates, look at verse 26. And her gates shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground. Yah says, I'm going to bring desolation. I'm going to bring reproach upon you. You're going to lament, you're going to mourn, you're going to sit on the ground. Because all of this sensuality and all of this lust, all of this wantonness, everything that you have done has not secured you a man. It hadn't made no man that you've been with want to commit to you. And see, that's why we got to have righteous mothers. Righteous mothers. Emas in the assembly. Mothers. The scripture says, so as the mother is the daughter. We got to start from a young age. I start from a young age with my girls. They're young, but I let them know, no, you're not going to have a boyfriend. You're not going to go out here and pick you some man, oh, he look cute. You're not going to marry a man because he cute, because he fine. I will determine who you're going to marry. I let them know that right now. You're not going to do that. Me and your mother, we would consider that. We would make that decision. Because no 16, no 18-year-old girl, no 19, no 20-year-old girl, no, they don't know what to look for in no man. No 18-year-old boy, no 19-year-old boy, young man, knows what to look for in a woman. It's the father's responsibility to give her to a man of understanding. It is the father and mother's responsibility to make sure that their son is marrying a virtuous woman. And because we have strayed away from our ancient righteous culture, then we allow our children to make uneducated decisions based upon their lack of experience. When we as grown men and women have experienced certain things, we know what to look for, that we should be training our kids, even in those aspects, while they are yet young. I never forget, there was a young lady when I was a teenager. You couldn't tell me I wasn't going to marry her. You couldn't tell me. I never forget my dad said to me, he said, Patrick, you're not going to marry her. You're not going to marry her, son. He said it from the pulpit. One day my dad was preaching, and he looked at me and said, Patrick, you're not going to marry her. putting her out right in front of everybody. You're not going to marry her. You're not. And even in my mind, as a teenager, I was thinking in my mind, yes, I am going to marry her too. That's the woman I'm going to marry. Lo and behold, when we got old enough to get married, she looks at me and say, Patrick, you're a good person, you're a good man, but I don't want to live for the Most High the way that you do. The Most High is going to send you somebody that will love you and that wants to be on the same level as you. She wanted to go out and experience the world. And my father was right. I wasn't meant to marry her. And I told y'all for that. That I had enough sense to listen to my father. Even though in the back of my mind, I was like, well, no, you know, I know, but I was wrong. He was right. He knew because of experience. Okay? So we should be training our daughters. My little girls are coming to me. My youngest one, but she changed clothes like it's almost like every 6 minutes she changing clothes. She'll come to me, Daddy, what you think about this dress, Daddy? I said, baby, that's beautiful. I like that. I like that, sweetheart. Yeah, that's beautiful. Nice and long. Make sure it's long, though, okay? Yes, Daddy. They'll come to me. My oldest daughter will come to me and ask me. She'll go to Shein. You know, Shein is her little favorite store. She'll go and pick out her little clothes, her dresses that she want to wear. You know, we got some places that we're going to take them to this year. She already got her little outfits put together. And she'll bring the tab to me and scroll through it. I don't have to force them to do. These are things that they voluntarily and willfully do because they see how I lead. Even she'll bring that tablet to me and she'll show me the clothes that she got, and I'll say, well, baby, I don't like the way this one right here look. Okay, Daddy, I'll take that one out. How about this one, Daddy? Do you like this one? Is this one good? Yeah, baby, that's good. I like that. That looks really nice. That's going to look nice on you. Maybe you should pair it with these shoes here. Why? Because I'm already training my daughters in that way. So we have to start with our young ones. We have to start with our young ones, brothers and sisters. Train them up in the way that they should go. That's every aspect of life. Okay? All right. Let's continue on with the scriptures, y'all. Verse 26 of Isaiah chapter 3. And her gates shall lament and mourn, and being desolate, she shall sit upon the ground. Now look at this. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1. And we're going to see what Isaiah chapter 1 is talking about. It's connected to Isaiah chapter 3. Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1. When you get that, throw one in the chat, y'all. Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1. Okay? Now, it's going to make sense now when we read it in context. Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold to one man, saying, we will eat our own bread, wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by that name to take away our reproach. Okay? And this is why. Because the Most High said, I'm going to take away your tefillah and your tefillith. I'm going to take away your beauty. I'm going to take away your dignity. I'm going to take away your honor. You're going to be destitute. You're going to admit, you're going to sit in the dust and in the filth of the ground. Why? Because you chose to leave the tefillith, in the tefillah, you chose to leave the beauty and the attire of a daughter of Zion to walk like a prostitute and to walk in a way of lewdness and wantonness. He said that's why. And because of your desperation and because of your reproach, because of your whoredom, you're going to be so desperate that all these women is going to leave off the dignity They're going to leave off their integrity and say to a man, listen, we don't want you to provide for us. We don't want you to be our husband. You don't got to take care of us. Just let us be called by your name. Just say that I am your woman and you are my man. I don't care if you got 3 or 4 other chicks. I don't care if you got 10, 15 women. I don't care. Just when it comes to me, just let everybody know that I belong to you. You mean to tell me that's a biblical marriage? No, that's a woman that is desperate and seeking validation from a man. Why? Because she doesn't have the ruach, or she's not walking in the righteousness of the Most High Yah. He said, in that day, what day is he talking about? The same day described here in Isaiah chapter 3. That's the day that he's talking about. Isaiah chapter 3. In that day, shall 7 women take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread, wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by your name, to take away our reproach, to take away our shame. Why? Because the Yah says that he's going to bring her gates shall lament and mourn, and she shall be desolate. She shall sit upon the ground. Take that away from us. Take the punishment and the judgment that the Most High has placed upon us because of our sensuality, our lust, and our wantonness, because we became wanted against the Most High Yah. We didn't want to wait on Yah. We didn't want to dress in a way that was becoming to a daughter of Zion, that represents the righteousness of Zion, the righteousness of Jerusalem, the righteousness of the kingdom of Yah. We don't want to dress in a way that's modest. We want to be haughty and prideful. We want to bring attention to ourselves. We want to go about mincing. And none of that has given us any type of honor or respect among the men of Israel. We are reproached among them. Why? Because of our wantonness, because of our lust. Because a man is not going to respect a woman that walks in that type of way. He's not going to have any type of honor or respect for her. Isaiah chapter 4 verse 1, now these 7 women are so desperate that they're willing to share a man. I don't mind sharing a man now because I can't get one on my own. Because I have a reproach upon me. I have a stigma. I have a reputation among the men of Israel now. Don't nobody want me. So I'm willing to take Tyrone, even though I know he's sleeping around with multiple women. I don't care about that. I'll share him. As long as I can take away my reproach, that's all that matters. Look what he goes on to say in verse 2 of Isaiah chapter 4. Yah says, in that day, he's not talking about the same day as Isaiah chapter 4 verse 1. He's not talking, this is a different time period. This is a different day. It's a different situation going on here. He said, in that day shall the branch of Yah be beautiful and glorious, and the fruit of the earth shall be excellent and comely. For them that are escaped of Israel. He said, those that are escaped of Israel. Are we escaped of Israel? No. That hasn't been fulfilled yet. And it shall come to pass that he that is left of Zion and he that remaineth in Jerusalem shall be called holy. So those who are steadfast, those who remain in Zion, the daughters of Zion that still maintain their integrity and they walk as daughters of Zion, he that remaineth in Jerusalem shall be called holy. Those daughters who still have a desire to be a representation of the daughters of Zion, they shall remain holy. They shall be holy. They're not going to be these 7 women that's taking hold of one man. He said, even everyone that is written among the living in Jerusalem. And when Yah shall have washed away what? The filth of the daughters of Zion. Yah says, when I wash away the filth of the daughters of Zion, and shall have purged the blood of Jerusalem from the midst thereof, by what? The spirit of judgment And the spirit of burning. God says that I'm going to pronounce judgment and burning upon the daughters of Zion until they come to their senses, turn from their wicked ways, turn from their lewdness, and return back to the tefillah and the tefillith of the Most High Yah. Allow the Yah to beautify you. It's not about having expensive things. It's not about how much makeup you're putting on your face. It's the beauty of a meek and a quiet spirit, the beautification of the ruach, the spirit of a woman. That's what attracts a righteous man. He said, and Yah will create upon the dwelling places of Mount Zion and upon the assemblies a cloud of smoke by day and a shining of a flaming fire by night, for upon all the glory shall be defense, and there shall be a tabernacle for a shadow in the daytime and from the heat, and for a place of refuge, and a covert from the storm and from the rain. Yah says, when I purify the daughters of Zion. Yah's doing that right now. Yah's doing that right now for the daughters of Zion. You're coming into the truth. You're coming into the word. There's things about your attitude. There's things about your appearance that is changing. You're understanding that you represent Zion. The Most High when Yah talks about the beauty of Zion, it's always referred to the women. It's not referred to the men. Because the women, the daughters of Zion, the women of the Most High Yah, the women of Israel represents the beauty of Jerusalem. They represent the beauty of the kingdom. They represent the beauty of Zion. Okay? All right, my brothers and sisters, we're going to end right there for today. Pray that this teaching was a great inspiration to your heart, my brothers and sisters. I love you all with the love of Yah.
Israelites Relit Ministry.